Hey guys, welcome to the CoronaTown Factorio 1 hour interval game that I'm doing. I'm recording this after the fact because I forgot to do an intro video with the game's mod settings and everything like that. So I'm recording this after the fact to show you. So I copied the CoronaTown seed, and I can go into a new game here and import. So I used a random number generator to basically 1 through 12 since there's 12 ticks. And I like doing that on my maps just to give it a little bit of variety and not feel like I'm always, doing the same thing. And it's random. As random as a random number generator can be. So here you can see iron's a little low, but I did get saved a lot on my generations for size. So even some of these things that are not too rich, like my copper or my stone, have very large size. So I'll be able to at least get large patches to be able to work with the product. Uranium being very low, pretty big size, and very high in richness also isn't too big of a deal. Uranium won't be too useful until late game if I start doing extreme nuclear power, which I've never really gotten that far into a game yet. So that is what we're working with. Terrain, same kind of thing, random number generator, just to give it a little feel of difference. So we have tons of cliffs, frequent and all over the place, and continuous, if you will. And we're using the alien biome mods just to also give a little bit of variety. I've never used it before. Doesn't really add anything to the game other than just new biomes. Makes it look a little different from the normal game, just to give it a little bit more look and different for me, because I've played a lot of vanilla stuff. And resource spawner overhauler, we changed the size of the generation just slightly to make the generations of regions just slightly bigger. That way, I don't want to have huge distances between my packs of resource or the chunks that it uses to generate patches of resource. So, but a little bit bigger than normal for a little bit better expansion. So we loaded right into the game, and if I do this right, this should be the exact same map that I was working with. And yeah, looks like it is. So we can see right off the bat, huge patch of iron, copper, stone, and this is a huge in size patch of iron, but it's not necessarily the richest resource. And we're pretty much in the middle of a donut of cliffs here. So that is where we are, and we will check back in on the first hour segment of the video to see where we ended up there. Awesome. Stay tuned. All right, welcome everybody to the first hour of the quarantine town. We are 46 minutes in. I started a little late on my first hour, but this is where we're going to be for our first hour tour of how the base is so far. Currently still have our big iron, working off one steam boiler, one steam engine. Small setup here, working for just red sciences at the moment, researching all the red science I can just to get it out of the way while I have it automated. Moving over here, I missed a line here the way I wanted it, so I fed it in here, and I'll replace it right now. This is going to feed my first large setup for iron, and I will just continue to grow this vertically here, up and down, to create a nice line of iron for myself to see where we can get in the next hour. Other than that, I think I might come over here, grab some of this copper, bring a line possibly around the coal patch because it's not that large, and just bring that underneath. Probably underneath and maybe snake it through right here. I'll probably bridge underneath this and do a very similar setup that I'm doing right here, right next to the iron smelting. Right here I'll do copper smelting and have a second line set up, and we'll see how that turns out in the next hour. So I will pause the video here, and we will clip to the next hour in a minute. Thank you. Alright, welcome to the second hour of the CoronaTown base tour. We are at hour 44 minutes. Since the last hour here, we have extended our iron smelting. We've added in, I guess I don't have radar set up, I'll have to walk and show you. I have going automation for just belts, which I'm using to make my green science. Automating copper just to make some electronic circuits, and all of that to just make assembly machines, mining drills, couldn't think of the name, and inserters for right now. So I think I'm just going on to more of a tactic of set it and forget it. I had my first area up here where we're running to, where I just made my initial just small automation of red science, and I had my sciences over here. I had my sciences originally right here. I just moved them down over here, and made green science packs to start doing some research. My power up north is getting shy. I've just opted to do 4 boilers, 1 steam engine. My landfill will almost be full research, and we are just tapping the max of the power. Every now and then my satisfaction drops below. And I'll take this landfill and I will landfill out a chunk here, and I will just add 2 more. I will add 4 steam engines to the second half, move my radar up above. Radar has scanned, not much going on. Ooh, actually there's a lot of oil. That must have just popped up when I last looked. Haven't hit the biters yet with our pollution line here. We'll have to shortly set up a defense on the power. I always like to get defense right around my power because this is making the most pollution at the moment. I'm sure the first thing they'll come down and attack is all my power here, and I don't want to lose power to my base because that'll just make everything bad. Of course, the biters eating anything will be bad. Seems like we have a lot of cliffs everywhere. A lot of cliffs everywhere. Source. This map has a lot of cliffs in it, and we are going to have to rush, I think, cliff explosives and start making our way through things. And this terrain type for the alien biomes is very rocky. There's rocks everywhere, so we'll see how that fares later when we decide to make a tank or a car or trains and try and get out there, because we're going to have to take out tons of rocks. I think cliff explosives and grenades are going to be a big thing, just so I can blow these up without having to really get out of my tank and mine everything manually. So, luckily with this big iron patch here, I can probably leave my base here, making all my necessity materials, and I might just go ahead and start a clean new smelting up top after I get a little bit more research. Sort of abandon this factory as I abandoned the original factory and move on to making a bigger, better smelting up here with some faster belts and start making things the next level of materials that I'm going to want to use for expanding this base. So we'll see where we end up in another hour. On the hour 3, I will clip to that when that one is ready. Let's see what happens. Right, welcome back again. This is our 3rd hour in so far. We have since added more, I think, to our iron line, added ammo creation or ammo production. Biggest of all, we've made wall down here at the side, wall off to the left side, and completely turned everything off, using the cliffs here for just a little bit of, free wall, if you will. Up top here, I didn't realize in the new patch I forgot about shallow water that you can walk on, and apparently the biters can also walk on, so I had to put my wall a little lower there. But I like using the environment to block off my things, and now that I feel safe with walls, I will be able to maybe make a little bit more production. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of steel next to make the ammo, the piercing rounds. That way I can then make the military science packs. I think I'm going to have to expand, because I'm going to need oil. That's going to have to be my next thing. And there's a lot of oil over here right now. It's a little bit down here. But I'm going to have to expand out to oil and probably find my next iron patch. This is 3.6 million, which it's not actually a lot. It just takes up a lot of space, which means I'll be able to mine it up very fast and use it. But it's not going to last once I mine it all up. And it's going to take a lot of power to mine all that up too. So maybe I can use some of the extra oil or petroleum to make solid fuel and just burn that off or something like that, because that is an incredible amount of oil. We're rushing in our science right now. We rushed through to, we're going to get cliff explosives next, also with the oil, because we do have a very heavy, cliff-oriented base map. But yeah, we'll see what happens next. I'm not really sure. This is at the point where I start getting a little mixed up in my ideas, and I'm gonna have to expand, and I don't want to yet because I want to set up more things, but I need more science packs to get more oils, to get batteries, to get robots, to get roboports and everything like that. That way I can start to feel like I'm building my base efficiently or moving at a fast pace, because I'll get a roboport, which will allow me, or a personal roboport, allow my character to build things and remove as I expand at a much faster rate. Maybe do something with trains. Maybe make a train station up here, pick up some water, and depending on what things look like up here in the left. Hey, wait a minute. There it is. there's our iron patch. So yeah, maybe we'll come up here and set up a train station up here somewhere and do something with iron up this way and start setting up a bus line of something. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So catch us again in the next hour on hour 4. Base tour hour 4 of CoronaTown. Since our last time in here, I think power has moved because we ran out of room to come down. I didn't want to start covering up my copper ore patch, so I've expanded to the left. I have had the first base attack from the right side here, from the east. So I set up some more towers here to keep them at bay. I was honestly thought that this would be the first thing to attack me up here in the north would come down, but apparently not. So I'm using these cliffs as again fake walls at the moment. I set up some stone smelting just to use some stone because eventually I will need some. And I set up a small bit of steel smelting at the moment as well. Turning those into walls and turning the iron into bullets to make my black science packs to get some more military. I thought at the moment, you can't see up here, but that tanks were just black, green, and red, but you also need the blue, so I messed that up. I was kind of rushing the black science to get that, but it doesn't hurt to have, because we'll get at least automobilism, wherever the heck that is. There we are. And I'll at least get a car, which will then allow me to go out and look at some of these areas that we have actually scanned. I haven't looked in a little bit to see. Looks like there's a beach over here, some oil. This may be a good spot to just do some generic oiling right now while I get some tanks, some trains, and I can train things up. I still think this seems like a pretty decently open spot at the moment to maybe just bring in and make a train station. Maybe, maybe not. This iron patch up here, pretty big. This one looks like pretty large. This was actually surprising. I thought this was cool. This uranium patch and this iron patch are the same size, but you can look at that size difference. When we saw the richness of uranium was very rich and very small, while iron was very large patches with low richness. It's just there's like the difference right there, which I think that was kind of cool. So I think, anywho, my next option for the next hour will be to probably, not really sure. I'm going to let the science tick through. Going to get automobiles, get trains working. And it might be just try and get some sort of rigged oil mining going on, oil refining. This is all pretty sloppy down here, and I think at the moment I've just been, again, going with the idea of efficiency isn't the key right now. I'll work on efficiency when I set up my second base or my third base. Right now, just as sloppy as it looks, get it going, so that way I can continue to just keep moving forward without spending too much time trying to work out the numbers and make everything efficient before I'm in the late game stage. So I'm just making iron and coal into grenades here again to come down and feed into my black sciences at the moment. So I think that is pretty much everything that has changed. I did put a lot more down on the coal, so this covers all the coal patch that is here at the moment, and priority feeding into the power, so power will never be an issue, and I won't have to worry about running out on these anymore. So yeah, we will see what happens in the next hour. Stay tuned or stop by the stream and you will see what happens next. See you soon.